From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Monday morning or Monday afternoon special session of the Kern County Board of Supervisors here on the March 26, 2018. The board will reconvene, and Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Gleason?
Here.
Supervisor Scribner?
Here.
Supervisor Maggard?
Here.
Supervisor Couch?
Here.
Supervisor Perez?
Here.
Thank you. We're going to have a salute to the flag. Supervisor Gleason, would you mind leading us in the salute to the flag? Please rise.
Hand salute. Follow after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Supervisor. Have a seat. We have one matter before us this afternoon, which is an item we're going to take up in closed session, but we offer an opportunity for the public to speak before that. This portion of the meeting then will be reserved today for persons to address the board about any item that is listed on the agenda. It's a special closed session meeting, so we're only going to take testimony this morning or this afternoon about items that are related to what's listed on our agenda today. Board members may respond briefly to statements if they choose to do so, and they may ask a question for clarification or make a referral to staff based upon what they hear. So. With that being said, we're going to go to Ridgecrest first, as I understand it. Some folks in Ridgecrest would like to make comment to us first, then we'll come and return to Bakersfield.
Good afternoon. We have four folks have joined
Hold on
us.
just a second. Hold on just a second. We need to make you a little bit louder, okay?
Okay, can you hear me?
That's better.
Okay. Okay, and we'll, of the four, Helen Jackson, start.
I'm sorry. It broke up. Can you?
Yeah, we're getting here.
How many people are there that would like to speak in Ridgecrest?
Four.
Four. Okay. We're going to go. I don't think it'll take 10 minutes, but we're going to limit the time in Ridgecrest to 10 minutes for those four people. There we go. Ma'am, could you please, so we're going to start a clock for a 10-minute time, and would you please, for all the speakers together, so try to take no more than a couple minutes apiece. And ma'am, with that, could you give us your name and then proceed?
Good afternoon. I am a fine resident trust, always very interested in what goes on in this county. Today, I asked an important question concerning how all of you go about doing your census as to who, what, when, and where. Since over 40% of the residents of Kern now, and probably will increase in the future, are Latinos, you must consider them as viable voters and very important for our county. I would like some response as to how you collect your census data.
Thank you, ma'am. What was your name again?
Your name? Give them
Say
your
your-
name.
Helen Jackson.
Helen Jackson from Ridgecrest.
Ms. Jensen?
Hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to hear from other folks, and then we'll see if anybody wants to respond. Who else would like to make comment there in Ridgecrest?
Great. I'm Judy, a resident of Ridgecrest for 49 years. I am very disappointed in the judge's decision. Anybody who is a citizen who lives within a district boundary can run and participate in the government of that district, whether it's for County Board of Supervisor or for the local school district. It is critical that you keep the first district as it is and the second district as it is. It takes 2 hours plus to get from Ridgecrest to Bakersfield. It takes that same amount of time to get to the county seat in Inyo County. We're probably the city that is farthest away. We need our local representation and the ability to vote for a supervisor that lives on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada. You people have many critical things to work out, especially the water situation both here and in the Tulare Basin. I feel this MalDef lawsuit is an unnecessary distraction for you. I represent probably well over 100 people in my talk to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Who would be next?
Okay. You're on.
Say your name.
My name is Odell E. Braun. I've been a bona fide Kern County taxpayer for 43 years, actually more like 58 years. But my whole point is, it seems to me that long ago this country went to war over a thing called taxation without representation. So here we are again. And I guess I will just echo what has been stated already, in that we want our own representative here, just like it is now. And I don't want some guy that lives 150 miles from me here. So I guess that's the end of the story. No taxation without representation. Thank you.
Is this the last speaker now?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Renee Westalusk, and I've lived in Ridgecrest since 1990. My issue with the redistricting is that water is everything to the survival of this valley. And from my experience of serving on the Policy Advisory Committee of the Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority, we are under a tremendous challenge just for this one basin to meet the deadline of January 31st, 2020, to get our groundwater sustainability plan in place. And we need our current leadership, our current supervisor, Mick Gleason, to continue that leadership to make sure this plan gets done on time. My other concern is with the boundaries that were proposed by MalDef, published in the Bakersfield Californian on December 20th and February 27th, that there'll be other groundwater basins that one supervisor would have to represent. My questions are, how many more groundwater sustainability plans would one supervisor be responsible for making come to fruition either in 2020 or 2022, which to me is a tremendous burden, because I know the huge burden is just to get this one basin's GSP plan completed. I'm asking the supervisors if there's any way they can still preserve the 2 supervisorial district representing East Kern and still comply with the Voting Rights Act, because everything in this valley depends on the survivability of our water supply, and we have to have a supervisor who knows intimately about that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is that the last of the speakers in Ridgecrest?
Yes, sir. That concludes the testimony from here.
Thank you very much. I know that Supervisor Gleason would like to make a remark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Denny. Appreciate you setting that up. There's a couple questions there that I don't know that I'm capable of giving good answers to right now, but Mrs. Jackson had a question, and I'd like her to hold on to that question, call me in my office, and I would be glad to respond personally to her and give her a complete answer as to the outcome of today's events. So please, Ms. Jackson, please call my office, and I'll get back to you, and we'll have a conversation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any people who would like to speak to us from Mojave or any other remote site?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. So we're going to return now to have the discussion here in Bakersfield. Would you please raise your hand if you would like to speak to us this afternoon about this matter? Okay, I'm going to give about 2 minutes apiece, so I'm going to set a limit on no more than 40 minutes, 40 minutes for this topic, and at the end of 40 minutes, we will proceed. So if you would want to use your time effectively, I urge you to please come down, make sure you're in the front row and not wasting time as we wait for people to make their way down the aisle. So who would like to go first? Please give us your name for the record, and then you can make your comment. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Chairman Maggard and board members. My name is Dave Noerr, spelled N-O-E-R-R. I'm currently the mayor of the city of Taft. The reason I came before you is I felt that if I did not come and express my concern regarding the lack of transparency in this issue, then I would be derelict in my duties to the people I was elected to represent. Transparency in government is a fundamental requirement. We think very highly of it in the city of Taft, and I got to believe you do too. I can't believe that any one of the supervisors would be comfortable standing before the people that elected him saying that this process, all taking place behind closed doors, is in the best interests of the people you are elected to represent. To ignore the transparency issue is to say to the people that were elected by you, we don't truly need your input on this matter. We don't really want to hear of your concerns on this matter. We don't need your ideas, and we really don't need to explain ourselves. Just have faith, blind faith in us. At the end of the day, we'll come out from behind closed doors, and we will show you our solution to all these issues without your input. I don't think any elected representative would be comfortable with that process at all. In spite of the fact that Supervisor Couch has done a stellar job on the west side regarding access to government and responsibility, his re-election numbers speak for themselves. I needn't tell you the job he's doing. The people that he represents will do that. We at the City of Taft are surrounded by that. This cloud is going to come over this governing body as a whole, the lack of transparency, the fact that we didn't even consider the appearance of impropriety. And I don't think you want to operate under that cloud, whether this decision goes one way or the other. That's not the way this process works. Transparency to government is tantamount. That's how we keep the faith of the people. We are all elected representatives, nothing more, nothing less. I urge you to take a step back, take a hard look at this, and really think about the long-term effects of this. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Noerr. At the end of the public comment period, I'm going to ask the County Council to explain some of the parameters under which we're trying to operate. Yes, sir. Could you give us your name, please?
Yes, my name is Michael E. Horn, H-O-R-N-E, like Lino Horn. I actually filled out application just recently, more than 3 weeks ago, and sent it to Secretary of State to actually to be approved to run for California State Governor. And my application.
Mr. Horn, are you speaking to the issue of the lawsuit that we're involved with under? Because the only thing we're taking public comment on this afternoon is that.
Can I at least have time to, in future, to actually speak about this?
You could come back when we meet next and talk to us then about your effort to run for governor. It is 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Francisco Martinez. I am a SEIU 521 union member, and I've been a Kern County employee for 14 years. I'm here today to ask the Board of Supervisors to provide equal representation for our communities of Latino descent. We represent some of the hardest working individuals in this country and state, and our collective voices are tired of being cheated out of elections. These redistricting plans affect our youth's future and our opportunity to elect individuals we believe best represent our interests. We will not be silenced by lines drawn to separate us and oppress our voices. A democracy only works if all communities are represented, and today I'm here to stand with my community and demand fair redistricting maps for Kern County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Veronica Vasquez. I'm the Kern County Chapter President for Local 521. I've been a social worker with the Department of Human Services for 11 years. I'm also a native of Delano. I have a lot of family and friends that are still there, and SEIU 521 represents members in the Delano North Kern area. Today I am here to demand justice and fairness for our communities. The 2011 redistricting plan provided to violate the Civil Rights Act and shows that the interest of the Latino community is not involved. So I appreciate you taking into consideration what needs to be done, especially for your constituents and your SEIU 521 members.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez. Who would be next? You're just going to cut into people's time if you clap it in between each one. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Yeah, Mark Martinez. As you're going through your deliberations, I wanted to remind you about a couple of things, matter of law and settled case law as well. This came as a surprise to me today. I was looking up Baker versus Carr because this is important to what you're looking at, the redistricting of their maps. And so just take a look at Baker versus Carr. But the interesting thing is today is the 56th anniversary of Baker versus Carr. And if you look at the decision that came down, Earl Warren called Baker versus Carr the most important decision he had ever made while on the bench of the Supreme Court. And the reason why was because he was looking at representation, the issue of representation. And he made the case that he said there's nothing more in a democracy that's more important than the issue of representation. And if you look at the story, the case was brought by a mayor in Tennessee, a Republican mayor in Tennessee, who was complaining that the districts that in his state had not been withdrawn in about 60 years. And so he said, you know what we need to do is redraw our districts so they're representative of the people in this state, in the respective districts. And so as the Supreme Court did their deliberations and came back and forth, went back and forth, the Supreme Court eventually came down on the side of Baker. And in essence, they said that, and matter of fact, this was a quote from Earl Warren, that we represent people, not rocks and trees. And so when we're looking at the case that's now in front of you, I would encourage you to take a look at Baker versus Carr, because at the end of the day, this cuts at the heart of what you're looking at. If you look and you compare the decision that was made in Baker versus Carr and also compare it with the decision that was made most recently with MALDEF and the Dolores Huerta Foundation helping to energize the backing of that court case, what you'll see is that these decisions were very deliberate. I believe in the Baker versus Carr decision, there was about there were 6 tests that they had to meet in order to get to the decision that they reached. And in the most recent case, I believe it's 8 or 9 steps. But the point being is that they were very deliberate and they were very careful, first in the Supreme Court 56 years ago, and then also in the most recent decision. And so I would encourage you to take a look at the history, but in particular, take a look at what Baker versus Carr reminds us about the democratic process, not just in Kern County, but in the United States of America.
Thank you. Who would be next?
Good afternoon. My name is Ralph Robles. I am Hispanic in heritage, and I was born into a blended clan. We were a bunch of Mexicans marrying a bunch of Okies. And some of us have very funny accents. Our music was, you know, Miguel Aceves Mejia and Waylon Jennings. And I lived in a labor camp that was segregated. One camp for Mexicans, one for whites, and one for blacks. This was back in the 50s, and since then, you know that there's been a lot of racial turmoil. But since that time, the relationships of the different races and ethnic groups has improved. And I am still in a blended clan. Now, my relatives run all the way to Alaska and Tennessee. And what I've noted is that no matter what color you are, no matter what demographic group you belong to, your rights are still the same. There's only 5 positions up on this board. You can't divide them into every social ethnic group in this county. You can only pick out the people that you think will represent you equally. However, there is apparently a legal decision that negates that and says that one demographic group is entitled to their own district. I disagree. You as representatives were elected by the people. It was a political decision made by the voters of this county. Now an unelected tribunal has decided that no, we are going to make the decisions. I urge you strongly to appeal that decision, to give you time to face us in a higher court of law, to ensure that the separation of the powers of the state, which were determined from the very beginning as a principle of this country, be maintained, and that our rights continue constitutionally and not to be parceled out by an unelected member of a different part of this government. Thank you.
Who would be next?
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Helen Barrow, and I'm a resident of Kern County, have been for almost 40 years, and I'm here to plead with you to do the right thing by all of the constituents of Kern County. The recent judgment addressed only part of it. I was struck by the wonderful comments by the mayor of Taft when he talked about transparency. I think that a lot of people in Kern County don't feel we've had enough transparency, especially when it comes to drawing districts. Some people call it gerrymandering. I also was listening to the people in Eastern Kern. Maybe we need 7 supervisors instead of 5. Maybe we're getting too big to have just 5, so that people can feel closer to their elected supervisors. Maybe you can think about that. So there are a lot of options for you. But what I really urge you not to do is to waste more taxpayer money appealing a judgment that will probably ultimately end up being the same. That a great many residents of Kern County have been without representation. I was struck by the taxation without representation. Talk about that for Latinos in Kern County. Been there, done that. So I hope you will really consider it, because if you continue to resist, I think what will probably ultimately be an unintended consequence is that people will look at all of you and say, oh, they're more interested in preserving their own reelection and their own power rather than representing the people justly. So please, please, do the right thing. Thank you.
Who would be next?
Good afternoon. My name is Leticia Prado, and
Did you say Leticia?
Leticia Prado.
Leticia Prado, thank you.
Yes, and I'm here to asking you, can you consideration to be added another representation in my community? Because for years I'm living there for 25 years, and I look at nothing changed. Everything is the same, and we need to more representation, and we need to look transparency in the process. Because I look at a lot of bad things in my community, like people have an influence, benefits for things, then they can benefits. So we need to cut all of these bad things in this community, because the people in my community, they don't have a voice. They need to, people really care and really focus on the issues in my community and know my community for more better representation. Hopefully you take in consideration, and if you need to add it more supervising and the chairs, I'm complete agree, because we need to people really know the communities and know the people in these communities.
¿Dónde está sus comunidad?
En Lamont.
Lamont, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, ma'am, please come forward. Sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Herlinda Ayon, and the reason I'm here is...
I'm sorry, ma'am, we have to say it slower for us.
Okay, Herlinda Ayon.
Thank you.
And the reason I'm here, we want representation for Latinos, not just one, but we would need more than one, because we have a lot of problems as Latinos. They always put us aside, and we feel that that's not right. We're humans, and we're the biggest population right now in the United States. And we feel that when it comes to us, they just say, oh, behind doors, we're going to vote, we're going to put them aside and let them, when you guys do something, let us know, because as humans and as a population, we put some of you guys here where you're sitting now. And we feel we need somebody to represent Latinos, not just one, but more than one. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes, my name is Janine Adams. I'm a registered voter in the District 2. I'm an employee of Kern County and work at the assessor's office. Honored Chairman, esteemed supervisors, first, I would like to thank you for your public service. It is an awesome task that you're committed yourself to being stewards of the public trust. Chief Administrator Alsop, I would like to thank you for your email to all Kern County employees this Friday. I wholeheartedly agree with your message in your email, and I feel it is appropriate to reiterate a few of the specific items. As you expressed in your email, and I quote, I recognize that we need to do more for our employees, and I am committed to doing so within the constraints of our budget, end quote. Mr. Alsop further expressed, and I quote, I ask that all our leaders become stewards of their communities, and I'd ask every one of you, Kern County employees, to consider doing the same, unquote. I agree with Mr. Alsop's conclusion, and I quote, I believe that we must all continue to look for ways to make our communities better. We will see an unprecedented positive change. Esteemed supervisors, today you are considering your compliance with the Voting Rights Act as demanded by the U.S. District Judge DeRuzzi. I urge you to redraw the district supervisorial district lines as mandated in that ruling, and not to spend additional tax dollars trying to overturn this decision. Based on Kern County's current budgetary constraints, appealing this judicial ruling will be a decision to make scarce taxpayer dollars away from essential public services. Again, I ask you, as Mr. Alsop has asked every Kern County employee, to become stewards of their community and to look for ways to make their community better. Please do not bring further division between yourself as supervisors and the community by pursuing this political agenda. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hello, I'm Kimberly Kirchmer. I am currently the president of the Democratic Women of Kern. We have a membership of over 200 members, and we support the districts, the new districts, that fairly represent all diversity of Kern County. We expect to see 2 majority Latino districts. We furthermore hold the board accountable to spending taxpayer money responsibly and for the agenda of its residents.
My name is Michael Bigley of Tehachapi, and I don't believe in identity politics, so I'm not here for that. But I do see, when I look at the map of Kern County, I see sections that are grouped together, small, that have coverage really close. I see other ones spread out across the county, running all the way from Ridgecrest to Delano through the mountain ranges, and then running all the way from eastern Bakersfield, southeastern, all the way through Roseman. So when you draw the maps like that, you know, I'm a candidate for District 2 supervisor. I can't even figure out where my district is in Bakersfield. I've been driving around down there trying to ask people and figure this out. So I think you guys need to come to a decision. I think if you appeal it, you're going to lose. That's my opinion. It's going to cost you millions of dollars. But by not making a decision expediently, you are hampering the efforts of the supervisor's race. People don't want to get involved in it. They don't want to invest money because they don't know what district they're going to be in, and they don't know who their supervisors are going to be. So whichever way it goes, I think those bodies that you grow up together should be connected so the people can be in their own district and not have to travel 100 miles to get from one end of their district to the other. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, board members. Mr. Chair, my name is Jose Gurola. I'm the mayor of the city of Arvin, speaking on my behalf, not on the city. And I'm here to urge you to not continue this litigation, not to appeal it, and to immediately begin the redistricting process. And I feel because representing not only Arvin, but 95% Latino heritage city, I think it's important to take into consideration the political representation of the entire county. And so I'm here not asking you to not continue this case because it's going to save money, although it will. I'm not going to ask you to not continue because of your probability of winning or losing, because I think you might lose. But I'm here to ask you to do this because it is the right thing to do. And so we're talking about appealing this case. What does this mean? Because there's other decisions that the board has gone through that has warranted litigation. For example, your EIR with the natural gas and oil permitting. You as a board think that that's the best thing for your city or the county, although I disagree. That's why you're going through litigation. And so when we're talking about going through with the current maps, in violation of the Voting Rights Act, it's in violation of the 15th Amendment that says that everybody should have a right to vote regardless of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. And in that 15th Amendment, it gave Congress the power to enforce that through legislation. And that legislation is the Voting Rights Act. And so continuing this case and fighting the litigation through the appellate process is in direct violation and going against the Voting Rights Act and against the idea that no person should be discriminated against like an account of race or previous condition of servitude or ethnicity. And so Dr. Martinez brought up Baker versus Carr, and I was going to bring up that case. And it's because a mentor of mine, Mr. Jack Brigham, rest in power, a lot of us know him, he told me a story that he once was in an elevator at UCSB, where both he and Earl Warren was. He had an opportunity to ask Chief Justice Earl Warren, what was your most important case? It wasn't Brown versus Board of Education. It was Baker versus Carr, because it allowed the judiciary to be able to decide political lines, that gerrymandering is a justiciable issue and not a political question. And so they also said one person, one vote. And so we need to remember that in a democracy, it's the people that choose the politicians, not the politicians that choose the voters. And so this isn't about race or identity. There are a certain amount of people in this county, and they have to be given the equal representation. And by deciding the lines, you can give everybody's race equal representation, and that's all that we ask, and that's all that the law mandates. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name's Sonia Bennett. I am a Kern County employee for 24 years, a proud member of SEIU, and I'm here today to stand with my community and ask that the board produce fair and just redistricting maps for Kern. The 2011 plan proposed by the board unlawfully denies Latinos the right to elect candidates of their choice. I am asking you to act on this judgment quickly and create and implement district maps that fairly represent our communities. I am here today to demand equal representation in our communities and stand with the people of Kern County. I'd like to add one more thing. I agree totally with Mr. Garola's comments and also the comments of my sister, Jeannie Adams. We have not given county employees raises in almost 10 years. It's ridiculous to think that we would be throwing money away challenging this court's decision. Please keep that in mind.
Who would be next?
Good afternoon. I'm Nick Nasita, candidate for Assembly District 34. I'm here to agree with Mary Helen. I think maybe you should consider expanding the board because the problem isn't just Latino representation. All I see are 4 white men and a Latino woman. I don't see any black men or women on this board. So I think it's broader than just the Latino community, and I think expanding the board will give you an opportunity to get a better and much more diverse board. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, how are you, sir?
Good, thank you.
My name is Joe Gary. I'm a Delano City Council member. And again, Delano is the second largest city in Kern County. Last week, we had the opportunity to hear from the Mayor Pro Temp of Shafter. We had the Mayor of Wasco. I know that the Mayor of McFarland wrote a letter. And then I was here present just to state our case that transparency is very important to giving us an opportunity to be heard in regards to redistricting the lines for Kern County. There seems to be a concerted effort to rally support from Eastern Kern County when the topic of discussion should be Northern Kern County. And I just want to make one point. Delano is 80% Latino. McFarland's 90% Latino. Shafter is 70% Latino. Wasco is 90% Latino. Lost Hills 100% Latino. We're not victims of our circumstances. We're just people. We're just taxpayers. We're just voters. And it's sad when we have to play that game that we can't be heard or we can't be represented. I'm the son of a farm laborer. And I can tell you that we should be represented with such. We should be given an opportunity to have one of our own represent us. And so, you know, I said last week, Mr. Gleason has done an incredible job 2.5 hours away. And his expertise is aerospace, maybe the military, but it doesn't represent Northern Kern County. Give us an opportunity to elect our own. Give us an opportunity to be heard. Give us an opportunity to elect someone that can best represent us and understand our needs and understand what our challenges are and understand who they're representing. And so it's just, we need to get past the politics of things and start doing what's right. We know that this is not something that happened overnight. This is not something that happened in the last 10 years. This has been the topic of discussion for over 20 years. And it had to be taken to the courts. And the courts are in agreement. And so to start to ramp up this Eastern Kern County issue now, today, we got plenty of time. We got 20 years to deal with that. We've already put Northern Kern County in the back burner. I'm not saying that that's what we have to do, but that's almost, you're sending the wrong message. Let's resolve Northern Kern County's issues today. We'll resolve Eastern Kern County's issues tomorrow. Thank you, and God bless you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon y buenas tardes. My name is Edward Glenhell Jr. I grew up in District 5 and now own a home in District 2. Soy el hijo y nieto de los campesinos aquí en el Valle. I'm the son and grandson of farm workers here in the Valley. I am also a veteran who served in the United States Navy. I am one of the many Mexicanos who was taken out of my barrio, La Colonia, and bused to Highland in the 90s and subsequently kicked out. So I have been a victim most of my life to lack of representation as an adolescent and as an adult. Pero ahora soy profesor de informática y un ingeniero de software. I'm a professor now of software engineering. I've read a lot of the county's Lean Sigma 6 process improvements, and I believe the county has all of the resources within its organization to implement these changes immediately. I've managed technology departments for the second largest city in the county, and have been to many county board meetings for Kern GeoNet, Kern Council of Governments, so I definitely understand all of the resources that you have at your fingertips. And so, again, I want to, I believe the county has all of the resources within its organization to implement these changes immediately, because justice delayed is justice denied. So as you begin to evaluate the information before you for this decision, keep one thing in mind: sí se puede.
Sir, what is your last name? I'm sorry.
Rangel, R-A-N-G-E-L.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosario F. Santillan. I am an immigrant from Mexico. I served in the United States Marine Corps as a volunteer. I didn't get drafted. I didn't leave to Canada. I served in the United States Marine Corps in Vietnam when I couldn't vote because I was just a permanent resident legal alien, as that was the title. I came back to the United States after having served. I decided that my country was the United States, and I wasn't going back to Mexico. So, contrary to popular belief, I went through the naturalization process to become a United States citizen. And I did so because I wanted to vote, to have people that I believed in that would represent the will of the community. I wanted to have a voice in that matter. You have a question in front of you today, and that is whether you are going to proceed with an appeal. As a voting member of your community, specifically Mr. Mike Maggard in your district, I urge you to not waste any more of our tax dollars, not yours, our tax dollars. That vote is important, and representation for each one of us in the county, irregardless of what your identity politics, as some people have said, irregardless of your race or background, we need one person, one vote. Thank you.
We thank you and Mr. Rangel for both of you for your service to our country. Yes, sir. I just want, just a second, there's only 8 minutes and 40 seconds left, so let's be as efficient as we can with this. Yes, sir. Please give us your name.
Hi, my name is Gary Rodriguez. I'm here from Shafter. Quiero darle las gracias a todos que han venido aquí a apoyar este caso. I'd like to thank everybody that's come to support this case. County employees, I expect that they have no retaliation on their part for their testimonies. Leticia, thank you for testifying in the case. I can imagine what the sentiment is, right? So let's The current maps that I believe you are drawing up, that we will see eventually, I expect there to be no gerrymandering. I expect there to be up and up and to be clear with the Voting Rights Act. The judge found this case to be, the judge found the county to be guilty of discrimination, of discriminating against Latino voters. The plan, the remedy must be a real remedy. It must be a real attempt, okay, for Latinos to be able to elect a candidate of choice, whomever that may be. It needs to be our choice. So I expect that you're going to be gerrymandering these proposed maps that you're going to put up, and then we're going to have to go back and forth. And I think it's a stall tactic for you to continue working to maintain the power that you have. Okay, you're already guilty. You've already been charged. Now, what you need to do now is you need to make it right. You know how to do that. Your legal counsel has already spoken with you, and we will continue through this process to whatever means necessary. We are tired of being treated as second-class citizens in this country, and we are tired of being treated as third-class citizens in this county. Okay. Okay. Now, as opposed to why has it taken so long for MALDEF to propose the case, what difference would have it had made? Your stalling tactics, okay, your in compliance of the law is still going to continue, okay? Your shenanigans, your excuses are still going to continue, okay? You're going to be judged on your actions, and you're going to be condemned by your actions. So make it right.
Okay, we have 5 minutes and 51 seconds. Yes, ma'am, please give us your name.
Sandra Redding, I'm in District 3, and I will be brief and quick, unlike this process. I'm a board member of the California Nurses Association. However, today I'm representing myself. An injury to one of us is an injury to all of us, and I support immediate implementation of the court ruling with a fair and transparent process with community input, so there are districts that are truly representative of our communities. We should not be diluting the vote of the Latino voters. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sophia, wait just a second, okay? Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm Dolores Huerta, Dolores Huerta Foundation. I just want to respond to some of the statements that were made. I just want to remind the Board of Supervisors that when it comes to Eastern Kern County, number one, they barely have enough population for one supervisor district, let alone two. They are represented by one congressman, one assemblyman, and one state senator. The other thing is that you need to really understand that you have been found guilty. You have been found guilty by a judge. You have been ordered to make new maps that would be representative of the community and the Delano, Shafter, Wasco, Lost Hills area. And so this is your mandate. For you to go ahead and try to stall and try to kick these elections over to 2020, the judge said you have already been holding illegal elections. And if you want to talk about transparency, well, the transparency was missing when the current maps were drawn, as you will all recall. So I don't think that you need to stall any longer. Many people have said this. I won't repeat what they're saying. We do have, there were some criticisms about the map that the Dolores Huerta Foundation presented last time, and we want to make those corrections. And so, Sophia, could you come forth and tell them what the corrections have been?
Yes, so as we noted in our last time that I spoke, my name is Sofia Garcia. I'm the GIS coordinator for the Dolores Huerta Foundation. I just want to start off by saying we had an error in the data that I presented last time because we included some communities from Tulare, and I also just want to note that we had 1 day to make those maps and data, so we apologize for that. But today I'm here to sort of echo what everybody else has been saying, but do it on a data side. So I'm going to talk a little bit about population data, and we gave our maps to everybody here on the board, and we have some extras, and you can also find our proposed map on the Dolores Huerta website. So I will talk about, we use population data and citizen voting age data to create those maps that you see in front of you. And citizen voting age data, or CVAP, which means the population over the age of 18 and a U.S. citizen. So I just want to clarify that if you're not 18 and if you're not a U.S. citizen, you weren't included in that count. And we also want to say that our data sources were the U.S. Census Bureau decennial, which is the one that happens every 10 years, the American Community Survey, which is the year-to-year estimate, and we also got data from the California Statewide Redistricting Database. For the data that we used the Census and American Community Survey for the population estimates and the CVAP estimates, and we used the California Statewide Database for the CVAP estimates as well. So we used two data sets when creating our proposed maps. We used your data for the current districts, and we used the same data to make our proposed districts. So for the population data, the current districts has a really broad population variance between districts. So for your 2010 districts, they show a variance of 12,000 people between District 2 and District 3. And the goal, which is a goal for like best practices when creating redistricting, was 100,067,926. And the variance that you guys had again was 12,000. And the closest count that you got for that was 1,800. So the goal, you didn't execute that goal. For our estimated population for our 2016 data, the target was 100,740, or 174,267. I can't say that really quickly. And under our proposed maps, we have a less than 0.1% variance in the data. And for the old maps, you guys had for District 5 only one majority Latino district at 75%, and we created two Latino majority districts at 78.4% and 79%. That's our District 1 and District 5. For the CVAP data, under your current districts, you have only, again, one majority Latino district, which is District 5 at 62%, and for our proposed, we have two at District 1 and District 5, again, at 63.7% and 64.7%. So just a quick summary. All of our data indicated today showed that you can make two strong majority Latino districts that can be created with your data that look at, again, population data and CVAP data. And we also want you guys to take into account best practices, as we did, which is equal population between districts, so low variance between each district through population, contiguous lines, and communities of interest. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to extend the time for 8 minutes. So there are 4 speakers in line. All 4 will get to speak, but that's the last of the speakers. So each of you have 2 minutes. So could you now reset it for 2 minutes per person? Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you give us your name, please?
Manuel Rodriguez. I grew up in Shafter most of my life. I now work for SEIU Local 1000, which represent 200,000 plus workers statewide for the state services of California. I've been in Bakersfield, and I know the hardworking community, which I worked in the fields too. And the people here today, which brings together all the grassroots, are here for a specific reason, because they're the people affected by the community and want justice and opportunity for all people to live in sustainable communities, and provided the opportunity to have the representation that they want and need from you, the elected officials. And hopefully you'll make the right decision and not fight what has been ordered through the judicial system, so that the people can move forward and it would be less cost on the city and taxpayers, and that it will help everyone to get this process completed in an expeditiously manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Honorable Board of Supervisors. My name is Audrey Chavez, and my gender pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm happy to be here today to speak in support of expediting this matter. I would like to just say thank you to the Dolores Huerta Foundation for all of the hard work that they've done in helping us to come up to date with our representation and the importance of recognizing the whole body of our constituents. I would like to just remind people that currently in our demographics, we only have one person who is representing the Latino individuals in our community, and we are a largely rural community. And although many of us do have personal relationships with many of you and throughout with a lot of different issues, right? It is imperative that we have our leadership reflect who we are, our ethnicity, our demographics. And I would encourage you to please work with DHF, work with Dolores Huerta Foundation in the hard work that they've done in developing boundaries. If you work together, it will be fast for all of us, it will serve the people, and it'll be a wonderful gesture of collaboration, which is important in times when we have budget issues and we have other issues. So I also want to respect and remember the memory of the attorney who passed away, who brought this suit to light. And so sometimes those are hardships we deal with, but surely our integrity and our commitment to working with our community shall be what shows the true spirit of our county. Thank you all, and thank you, DHF. I pray that you work together in making this fast so we can move on to some really good, important issues and deal with those in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, please come forward. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. My name is Roxana Sarabia, and I'm a Director of Social Services for United Kern County. I provide resources for a large Latino community in Delano, referred to as Belmont Meadows. So I see day in and day out the issues that these 150 residents go through, and these issues need to be addressed as soon as possible. In order for these issues to be addressed, I urge you to not delay. And I am present here today to be proactive, not reactive. So, therefore, please, I would like to ask of you, if you need assistance, the community organizations such as Dolores Huerta Foundation is able to assist you in order to implement as soon as possible with no delays.
Thank you.
This lawsuit is won. It has been won, and I see no reason for it to be delayed and our growing Latino community not be misrepresented any longer. Please, I urge you to implement the district maps and do not delay any longer. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, could you repeat your last name?
Yosenia, could you please give us your last name, please? Could you spell it for us?
Sarabia, it's Sarabia.
Sarabia, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. Our last speaker. You have certainly earned the right to speak to us. Thank you for your service.
How you doing? Thank you all. First and foremost, thank you all for serving our community. Dolores Huerta, thank you for what you do. To my two brothers back here, thank you for your service. I'm not going to come up here and argue either point. I just want to ask one small favor.
You need to give us your name.
My name is Chad Garcia, retired Sergeant, U.S. Army Airborne Infantry, 2001 to 2014. I'm not going to argue either point. I just want to come up here and ask that you do your job, please. We elected you to do that job. This is democracy, everybody. This is what America's all about. I've watched my brothers die in the battlefield so that this can happen. I've seen African Americans, white Americans, Hispanic Americans, And most recently, last Friday, Kern County dedicated a portion of Highway 43 to a fallen Afghan veteran, Army Ranger Ricardo Barraza, Staff Sergeant type. This is America. This is what we do. We voice our opinions, and we expect to be heard. Again, I'm not arguing either point. I'm just asking that you do your jobs respectfully and that you speak for the people. Whether it's one way or the other, please do your job because America deserves it. This is a time where our country is more divided than ever, and we don't need to have that happen anymore. We need our elected officials to stand up for every single one of us. And I ask that you do that in memory of all the men and women who have died for that flag right there and that one. Thank you very much. God bless America.
Thank you. Okay. That will conclude our public comment opportunity this afternoon. I want to thank you all for coming and sharing your thoughts with us. Mr. Nations, could you please give a very brief summary of what the mandate we are under by the judge is and what will happen in the next few days as we roll out towards the hearing on the 28th?
Thank you. I think it's important that we all understand that the county no longer has sole control over redistricting to remedy the Voting Rights Act violation identified by the court in Luna versus County of Kern. Any remedial redistricting must be approved by court order, and there are two ways to get there. First is a judicial process which involves a judicially supervised settlement conference with a proposed settlement map upon which the parties agree and which must be submitted for court consideration and approval. The second is the legislative process with an adopted interim redistricting plan submitted for court approval. The parties have been ordered by the court to engage in the first process, the judicial process, and we have committed to do so in good faith. The judicial process is not bound by state requirements, like the state legislative process, which requires 2 public hearings before adoption of a map by a legislative body. Right now, we are engaged in the federal judicial process in which the court has concluded that the current boundaries, which were adopted following a lengthy public process and numerous public hearings, violate the Voting Rights Act and must be changed. The federal judge has ordered the parties to attempt to settle all aspects of the case. Public hearings are not part of the settlement process, which is confidential. If the settlement process fails, the court will likely order an expedited legislative process. Whatever plan emerges from that process must be approved by the judge. If the adopted plan does not remedy the Voting Rights Act violation, the judge will impose a plan. Whatever the plan the judge approves will be in effect for the next 3 years until the 2021 redistricting, when the county will engage in the normal legislative process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. Supervisor Perez, would you like to make comment? Okay, very good. Supervisor Couch, I think you punched in.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to know if there was any way, we're going to go in and deliberate a bit in closed session, and I wanted to know if there's any way we could get more information about this map. It's hard to see the real detail of it, and I don't know how to go about getting that. Could you do me a favor? Could you just provide it to our CAO, Ryan Alsop? Thank you for that. I have just a couple of brief comments. One specific to what Mr. Nation just said. I understand we're in a process that is a judicial one, and we are not bound, I think his words, not bound by the state process. Does the process that we are currently in preclude public hearings? Mr. Nations?
No, it does not. But
thank you. Okay. I recognize this is a sensitive topic, and I want to, but I'm going to make one last attempt that what we can discuss in public, I think we should discuss in public. So there are certainly things that we need to discuss, legal strategy, what have you, that we the county may want to use in the settlement conference. But I would stress and urge again that we talk about what maps are under consideration today in open session. I don't know the legality of that. I know our agenda has one item on it. It's under closed session. So I'm asking you, Mr. Nations, through the chair, if it is possible that we can discuss any portion of that in closed session, whether or not you recommend it or not is a separate question.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking me.
Is it possible that we can discuss any aspect of I think it's item 4 on our agenda, in public session?
Not today.
Not, and is that because of the way it is agendized?
Correct.
Thank you. Two other things very quickly I want to put on the record. I had an appointment scheduled for Friday, and Mr. Nations, you are perfectly free to respond to either of these if you feel the need to put something on the record. I had an appointment scheduled for Friday with outside legal counsel for the county to, for lack of a better word, work on the maps that we are currently under consideration to be ready for today's meeting. That meeting was canceled, not by me, but by our counsel. I also had access, as I think every other supervisor's office has, to the program where I could go in and I could look. I couldn't move lines around, but I could at least look at the maps. And that access was cut off for me on Friday. I just wanted to make those comments for the record. Thank you.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nations, can you once again reiterate what we discussed last time we were in open session in response to my question about timing? I was particularly stricken in the judge's order, the quick timeline by which he expected resolution here, and the rather harsh penalty it seemed to me the judge was willing to impose should we not complete this process within what was essentially a 30-day time period, a very short period for, in my personal opinion, politically or within the legal system, a very short time period. Can you give me your legal analysis of that, and if you can and are comfortable, why you believe that period was so short?
Well, the court notified us on March the 6th that he wanted us to participate in a settlement conference on the 28th. The plaintiff's counsel asked that it be accelerated, that we meet sooner than that. I advocated for the 28th simply because I had not met with your board on this issue since the findings of fact and conclusions of law had been issued by the judge. Since that time, we've met twice in closed session on this. Today will be the final time before the settlement conference, which is very common when we are engaged in settlement negotiations. And so the timeline we've been given is very, very short, very accelerated, and was not intended by the court to allow for a public process, but was intended to give us the ability to formulate a settlement proposal, which would be conveyed to the other side, and if they accept it, then the court would consider whether it would be approved or not.
That's all for now. I may have more, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments before we close by board members? Supervisor Gleason?
Just one, thanks. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. I'm struck by comments people made about transparency, because that has always been a vital component of what we all have committed to, and I've seen that for the past 5 years, that we are totally committed to transparency, and it bothers me that there may be an understanding in the public that we are being less than transparent. So I want to put it in my words, Mr. Nations, what your legal definition of the judicial process is, so that I understand it and maybe the folks can understand it a little better too. We are under orders from a judge to, because the 2011 election lines were, in his opinion, illegal and it diluted the Latino vote, we are being compelled by a judge to, within a 3-week period of time frame, go to a settlement hearing to propose a solution with the MALDEF representative in front of a federal magistrate, so that he can then take that proposal, if he accepts it, and move that on to Judge Drodes so that he can review it and accept it at a later date. Is that essentially correct?
That's correct.
So the judge has interfered with a public process that we normally go through, and we've been going through for 100 years, and he's doing that because, in his opinion, the lines we drew in 2011 were illegal.
That's correct, and he also has the authority under federal law to do that.
Right. And so we are, in terms of transparency, we're like in a corner. I mean, we have very few options of providing the transparency that the public demands and should get because of the findings of this judge. Is that correct?
The process that he has outlined has not allowed for the public input that you would normally get in a regular legislative process.
Thank you, Mr. Nations. I just am very sensitive to the transparency issue. I think it's critical that the public gets it. I'm fully, and my peers here always have demonstrated a complete commitment to transparency, and these are difficult times, and we're trying to comply with a judicial order, and we're going to do the best we can and provide the public as much information as soon as we can get it to them. Thank you.
Supervisor Perez, did you punch in again?
I did. Chairman, could I ask you a brief indulgence?
Yes.
Thank you. Dolores, please.
I just want to remind the supervisors that many of us were here when those the lines were drawn in 2011. And we asked for a public hearing, which we were denied. The maps were the last map that you approved for District 1 was approved here. Everybody here said, could we have another week? Could we have another hearing? Your public hearing that you had was you're presenting the map and then a week later adopting the map. There was no transparency, and this is why we are in the situation that we are in now. And this is why the lines that you drew last time around were considered illegal. I also want to say that, and somebody did mention this, when it comes to lack of representation on this board, many of the votes that you all have taken have been 4 against 1. 4 against the 1 representative that the Latino community has on this board. And I know that there is some, and a little bit of history. I want to remind Representative Couch, Supervisor Couch, that when he was on the city council, he introduced a resolution against the Latino community to make this an English-only city, to deny services to undocumented people, to deny public services to undocumented people in this community. So there has been a racial bias on this board. This is a chance to correct it. The transparency, the lack of transparency back in 2011 is what got us where we're at today. We know that you have the resources, as you did then, in one day to present a map and adopt it a week later. So, I mean, when you talk about you need more time, you've got the resources to do it now. It's been a whole month now that we've been into this process, and so this is why exactly the judge has ordered you to do to bring these new maps forward, so we can stop the illegal election activity of this Board of Supervisors, and so that we can have the representation that we need for our community. You can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. We will retire here in a moment to do the good work of the people in just a few moments here. But I wanted to express my heartfelt gratitude to those folks who have come here today as both observers and participants in this incredibly historic moment. That's what this is. We know it, and we are in a position to make that transition be one that mirrors the life of Dolores Huerta, which is a life of peaceful protests, a life of love, a life of service and dedication to all people, all members of this community. I have never known Dolores to discriminate against one individual on any basis or to attempt to work one group against another. I have never witnessed that. I have been moved by that. And when this case is resolved, it will go down as one of the greatest moments of your legacy, Dolores. And that is special. That's important to me, and it's important to this community, and not just to Latinos. I have had more White conservatives call me in the last 2 weeks and say, we support this decision. We know this is a sensitive issue, but we all believe it's time to move forward as one community. And so in that legacy and in the beauty and spirit of peaceful protest of your government, I thank you for being here. On whatever side you took and whatever perspective you have, it is important. All of it is important. And it is part of the process of this incredible historic transition. I thank you, and I have every faith that this body will move towards a quick resolution, do what is not just under the law and what we have taken an oath to uphold, but to do what is right. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Thank you for joining us this afternoon and for sharing your thoughts with us. And I would entertain a motion that we adjourn to closed session.
So moved.
Thank you. Without objection, so ordered.